All right, everybody, welcome. First episode ever of Megan Unfiltered, which means two things. I finally stopped overthinking starting this crazy ass YouTube channel, and you're about to hear my unfiltered thoughts about life, work, and all the shit that's in between. I'm gonna try really hard to not use corporate buzzwords and pretend everything is perfect. Definitely no rise and grind motivational speeches, right? Like, um, oh, one day at a time, just think positively. Sometimes those things are comments that make people want to punch you in the throat, or at least they did me. Right? I think most of us are trying to just get through the day without losing our minds, which is why the first video I think is important for me to share and for people listening is burnout, right? You know, that little fun experience when you open your laptop, you stare at your email for 10 minutes and then your brain is like, nope, can't do it. Not going to do it. Or I'm going to go paint my walls because I don't want to deal with this shit that's in my email, right? If any of that kind of sounds familiar, and burnout is something you think you might have, you're in the right spot. So nobody really explains it well. It's not really just being tired. If it was just tired, we'd fix it with a nap and a snack. Those are my two favorite things, right? Burnout is like your brain slowly stops cooperating with you. You sit down to work and suddenly your brain is like, the best I can do is scroll the internet and question my entire life existence. You're overwhelmed by things that used to be easy. You start thinking, why is everything so hard? Why can't I focus? Why am I irritated by literally everybody? And the worst part, you start thinking something's wrong with you. Spoiler alert, nothing's wrong with you. You're just running a human being on about 20% battery for 6 months straight, which would break literally any device, right? But somehow we expect humans to just keep going. And I think, why do we expect, like, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause and say, I need a minute. Let's talk about some burnout red flags, right? Because if you're watching this video, there's a solid chance you're already experienced at least one of these things. Sorry, coffee is my favorite thing on the planet, so you're going to be getting me drinking coffee a lot in these videos. But during burnout, everything annoys you, right? So your coworker who breathing too loud, annoying, or sneezing, someone sending you a message that says, I have a quick question, and you have immediate rage, you're burnt out, right? A quick question is never a quick question, which is why, as an HR professional, I bought an hourglass because people would walk into my office and say, do you have a minute? And I would say, I have 1 minute for you. And I would turn the hourglass and they were like, holy shit. Because you know what? 1 minute is never a minute. It's a 30-minute problem that's disguised as one sentence and one question. If you're procrastinating everything, even the smallest things, that email you should answer, you read it, you think about answering it, you open the reply box, and then your brain says, actually, let's reorganize the entire kitchen instead. Right? And then the next thing you know, you're fucking cleaning your fridge at 10 p.m. instead of doing the one task that would have taken 2 minutes. That's my life story in a nutshell right there, by the way. Have you guys seen those memes and videos where people are talking about their ADHD brains and how they found a solution for it, and it's literally the woman latching herself onto the dishwasher with the dog leash so that when she's halfway through unloading the dishwasher and she starts thinking about something else or doesn't want to complete that task and she starts to walk away, she can't. It's funny in my life. Another red flag, you stop caring about things you used to care about. And this one really does sneak up on you. You used to feel really motivated. You used to get excited about projects. And then one day you're like, cool, another task. Love it. Great. Thank you. And it's confusing because you start wondering, like, do I hate my job? And then you think, well, sometimes maybe I do. But sometimes you're just completely fried and you need a 6-week vacation, right? Why does that happen? It's usually some combination, right? Too much responsibility, not enough control, and zero recovery time. That's the perfect recipe for your brain to eventually go, yep, we're shutting down, right? Control, Alt, Delete, reboot. Modern work culture, it's kind of built to create burnout. You're supposed to be productive all day, respond instantly to messages, be creative, strategic, available, be positive, and somehow also have work-life balance. When the fuck are we supposed to be human? When are we supposed to be able to do other things that we want to do? Where does that come into play? It's really, it just is unbelievable, this new modern work culture that we have. And that people just are expected to do everything. And then sometimes when you are amazing, they pile even more on top of what you're doing because you're amazing and you're going to get it done. Whereas other people who maybe have set boundaries and have said no and or don't meet expectations, but they still need them there for some reason we're not quite sure of. You end up doing more people's jobs. And then again, that leads to burnout, right? The worst thing that somebody can say to you is you need a better productivity system. The problem isn't always your planner. It isn't always your project management tool. The problem is that sometimes your workload is just insane and you can't productivity hack your way out of doing the work of 3 people. You can't morning routine your way out of chronic stress, but we internalize it anyways. We start thinking if I were just more organized, more disciplined, more focused, more whatever, pick a fucking verb, right? Then I would be able to do it. But no, you're sometimes exhausted because you're just doing too damn much, right? I remember a point where I kept telling myself I was fine. I'm just busy, right? That was the classic phrase I use all the time. I'm just busy. I need to just go to bed earlier, or I need to get outside and walk more, get more exercise, or do X, Y, and Z, right? Busy is a socially accepted way of saying I'm barely holding this together. So when somebody says I'm really busy, it's, I think, a key and code words for I'm holding this shit together as best as I can. One day I opened my laptop and sat down to work and just literally stared at the screen. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't working. It was just blank. My brain literally was like, I'm done here. And that was the moment I realized burnout isn't always dramatic. It's quiet. It's your brain slowly saying, I cannot keep going at this pace. And I think recognizing that and acknowledging it is huge. So what actually helps with burnout, right? Like, great, we all know what the fuck burnout is, right? But I think a lot of times people are like, I need solutions, and you can't just wave a magic wand and not be burnt out anymore. It's not just, oh, go take a bubble bath. Although if you do like a bubble, I love a good bath. Go for it because it's going to help you for sure. But real things that usually help are learning how to set boundaries and recovery. And both are very much easier said than done. A few things that actually helped me was lowering my expectations temporarily. When you're burned out, I was not operating at full capacity, and neither are you. If you think you're operating at full capacity when you're burned out, you're not. And stop expecting yourself to. You do not have to be amazing. You just have to be functional, right? And then start protecting your energy. Not everything deserves your time. Not every meeting is necessary. Not every request needs an immediate response. Learning to say no is uncomfortable, but burnout is so much worse. And so I am going to talk a lot about, I'll have a video about boundaries. I'll have a video about learning to say no, and kind of intertwine the two. And protecting your energy, I think is super, super important. And then you actually need rest. And when I say rest, I don't mean laying on the couch scrolling on your phone. That's not rest, right? That's you do that and then you start feeling guilty, right? I mean like real rest. You need to get some sleep. You need to go for a hike. You need to get outside. Don't bring your headphones. Hardest thing for me to do is because I like to multitask, as most women do. Sorry for the men out there. I always say men don't know how to multitask, but apologies if you're a male and you can multitask, for looping you into that. Apologies. Anyways, do things that don't involve productivity, right? Do things that can bring you down, and help you self-regulate a little bit better. Meditation for me was huge. And I just really got into it about 2 years ago. And so I do have a lot of breathing exercises. They have walking meditation, which I find to be fantastic. Excuse me. As per everybody in northern Minnesota right now, it's cold season. So do things that don't involve productivity, right? It can feel super weird at first because we've all been trained that every minute must be useful. But your brain needs downtime the same way your body needs recovery after exercise, right? Your brain is a muscle. It also needs rest. And I can't tell you enough how many times I've had that conversation with people from a coaching perspective, crisis counseling perspective. If you had a pulled groin, you'd rest, right? If your brain is not functioning at full capacity, you take a rest, right? So I'm going to end this by just saying, if you're feeling burned out right now, you're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not failing. You are you are a human being whose nervous system has been under way too much stress for too long, and your brain is literally just asking for a reset. You're not alone. Honestly, I don't think half the planet isn't burnt out. I think they all are. And I think half of them are pretending everything is fine. I'd love to hear what's your biggest burnout symptom right now, if you want to drop a comment. Mine is staring at my inbox like it's personally attacking me, and telling me what I haven't gotten to yet or what I need to do. And this channel is really going to be about more honest conversations about work-life stress and trying to be a functional adult. So subscribe, right? We're going to keep talking about the stuff people usually keep to themselves, right? Go drink some water, maybe log off a little earlier today, and remember, your worth is not measured by how exhausted you are.